So, this workshop will help you slow down your climactic event and add more internal reflection to make it more powerful. The key takeaway here is that your climax should be a really deliberate tipping point and release of tension that's been building throughout the entire anecdote. So, we're going to start by looking at a scene from All Quiet on the Western Front. We're going to look at chapter 9, where Paul faces the French soldier in the trench, and this is the first man that he kills, so it's a really important moment for Paul. And to refresh your memory, this anecdote starts when the soldier first falls into the trench and Paul immediately stabs him. And then the conflict begins because the soldier is slowly dying and Paul's debating whether he should help this guy, whether he should help him or kind of stay on his side of the trench. And he ends up giving him water. He ends up helping him as the man dies. Hours later, the man is finally dead, and Paul keeps talking to this dead man, and he begins to regret killing him. So he changes his perspective on this guy that immediately he killed when he jumped in the trench. So Paul debates back and forth whether he should look in this guy's wallet because he thinks that if he knows his name, it's going to change him. It's going to change his outlook on the war. It's going to change how he feels. So Paul's debating back and forth with himself about how much he should really engage with this guy. And finally, he decides, I'm going to look in the wallet. And he looks in the wallet and he sees pictures of this guy's family. And he starts reflecting on the nature of war and he starts realizing that his enemies are just people like him, that these people have lives. And so kind of changes his perspective as a soldier. Everything after this moment is falling action, is a release of this tension that's been building and building and building throughout the whole chapter. So Paul finds his way back to his own trench. He meets up with his friends, but he finds it really difficult to talk about what he's decided here in the trench. We're going to focus in on this moment, on this climactic event, and we're going to think about how Remarque made this moment so powerful and so strong. We're going to start by looking at what this climax could have been, a weaker climax that doesn't have enough internal reflection necessarily, and that kind of goes too quickly. His tunic is half open. The pocketbook is easy to find, but I hesitate to open it. In it is the book with his name. So long as I do not know his name, perhaps I may still forget him. This is a really strong start, and it's a great moment to expand because there are two very clear sides to Paul's thinking. He can either open the wallet and remember this guy forever, or he can not open it and forget him. This is a really good time to explore the pros and the cons of both of these choices. We've started, but we could do a lot more to think about both sides. I take the wallet in my hand. It slips out of my hand and falls open. Some pictures and letters drop out. I gather them up and want to put them back again. So this is a great opportunity to explain your soldier's emotional state. Explain their emotional state in addition to the actions, kind of back and forth. Their actions, how they're feeling. Their actions, how they're feeling. So I want to know, how does Paul feel about these pictures? He says that these pictures slip out of his hand and they fall open and he doesn't want to see them. Why? What did he see? Why does he want to put them back? What is he thinking here? This dead man is bound up with my life. Therefore, I must do everything, promise everything, in order to save myself. So I open the book and read slowly. Gerard Duval, compositor. This is a climactic action because Paul makes a decision and he looks in the pocketbook and he sees the guy's name. But we don't really see him grappling with both sides of his choice. He acts pretty quickly and there's not a lot of reflection about how he's feeling. So now we're going to take a look at how Remarque actually wrote this, and it's a much stronger climax because he adds in a lot of internal reflection. His tunic is half open. The pocketbook is easy to find, but I hesitate to open it. In it is the book with his name. So long as I do not know his name, perhaps I may still forget him. Time will obliterate it, this picture. But his name, it is a nail that will be hammered into me and never come out again. It has the power to recall this forever. It will always come back and stand before me. So here, there's reflection on reasons why he should and reasons why he shouldn't make this choice. And that really builds up the tension. Irresolutely, I take the wallet in my hand. It slips out of my hand and falls open. Some pictures and letters drop out. I gather them up and want to put them back again, but the strain I am under, the uncertainty, the hunger, the danger, these hours with the dead man have made me desperate. I want to hasten the relief, to intensify and to end the torture, as one strikes an unendurably painful hand against the trunk of a tree, regardless of everything. So Remarque does a couple of pretty interesting things here. First, he describes a lot of small actions that Paul takes. So he's thinking about how the wallet is moving, what happens when it falls open, what Paul looks towards. He's thinking about these small actions to show with Paul's emotional state that he's terrified, so he's fumbling around as a result. And then Remark uses a simile. So he compares how Paul is feeling about looking at the wallet, looking at these pictures, with striking your hand against a tree. So we have this very physical image of the pain that Paul is going through and kind of the tension that is building because he wants to, but he also really doesn't want to. This dead man is bound up with my life. Therefore, I must do everything, promise everything in order to save myself. I swear blindly that I mean to live only for his sake and his family. With wet lips, I try to placate him. And deep down in me lies the hope that I may buy myself off in this way, and perhaps even get out of this. It is a little stratagem. If only I am allowed to escape, then I will see to it. So I open the book and read slowly. Gerard Duval, compositor. So what's interesting here is that Remarque uses a mixture of action with internal reflection. So we see what Paul does. With wet lips I try to placate him, with what Paul's thinking. Deep down in me lies the hope that I may buy myself off in this way. He goes back and forth between action and reflection. And that slows down the climax and also helps to build the tension. And then we get to the end, where Paul finally makes his choice, makes his decision. It's the climactic moment. And because of all the work we've done before this, all the internal reflection that went into this, this moment is a lot stronger. It's a more powerful moment as a result. So now you should think about how you can add this to your own work, how you can expand your climax. You should start by thinking about what your climactic moment is. Then answer the following. First of all, what choice is your soldier struggling with? For instance, Paul was dealing with his duty as a soldier versus his desire to understand the enemy and kind of to no longer fight or be a soldier. So that was warring within him as he was deciding whether or not he should engage with this guy. You should try writing your central conflict down as a blank versus blank conflict. Once you've done that, then think about why this is such a tough choice for your soldier. So, for instance, Paul knew that looking at the wallet would change him. It would make him a much less effective soldier because he would start seeing the enemy as people. So you should try making a list of what's pulling your soldier in each direction, why this is so tough for them. Then think about how to set your scene. Is your soldier speaking with anyone in the climactic moment, or is this all internal reflection? Paul's is a little complicated because he's technically alone, but he's talking to the dead guy, and he sort of has this climactic moment as he speaks to the dead guy. So in order to improve your draft, start by adding internal reflection to explain how your soldier is being pulled in two directions. Try interspersing dialogue with actions and reflections to slow down the story. Use figurative language to explain your emotions, and try writing out the small actions your soldier takes. The more you slow down this climax, the more you're building the tension, and the more internal reflection you add, the more we understand the choice your soldier ends up making.